What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How are you doing? It is post E3, and we got some exciting information about the Hyperkin RetroN 77. Now, when I first initially made the video about it, of course there were naysayers. There were folks who wanted to bring up Hyperkin's track record, not living up to certain expectations, certain fiascos about source codes and whatever. But I was excited that they were even contemplating this. If you recall in my video, why there's no pre-8-bit love, which was actually directed towards them for something. Everything I said in this still holds true to me to the day. And just the fact that they're even making this, or contemplating making this, is pretty exciting for a guy like me anyway. So I do have some information post E3 from people who've gotten to experience the demo unit. Yes, there was an actual physical demo unit there, if you haven't figured that out yet. And we're going to talk about it, have a look at it, and I will give you some specs from information relayed to me from various sources. But first, let's talk about why it's important to me. Yeah, we can play our Atari. I mean, shit, I was just playing it on this. I got pause feature for Atari. And yet I still don't have an SD card in there. We can play our 2600. I got a 2600. I have it all emulated on my Wii. I have my expansion module 1 for the ColecoVision. You know, so I got plenty of ways to play Atari. So what's the point in having this? Because it's in HD? Are the blocks going to look any better? No, of course they're not. It's going to be a little sharper. But it's really more about the idea behind it. You know, from here on, it's always been 8-bit and above. You know, it's almost like the retail world wants to say that Nintendo's where it started. And yes, we have our flashback stuff. Yes, we got an Atari Portable. But on a serious note, nothing has really come out or been contemplated being made that I know of to help us older cats out play the stuff that we have our foundations in. So I'm glad they finally heard our cry, whether my video helped or not. They said they were going to look at it. I did send it to them again, because that video was for them specifically for something they were doing at the time. They never did get back to me on it. But regardless if my video helped out or not, or other people had the war cry, either way, there was a demo unit at E3. So it's a 50-50 reality now. I'm not going to say it's 100%, but it was out there, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see it this coming holiday season. So now that I've gotten past all that, let me have a sip of my coffee. Pull up my little notebook here with specs and such. And these come from various sources, which I will credit either during my discussion and or at the end of the video and in the description down below. First and foremost, let's talk about, there's no release date, but we can safely assume holiday of this season, if not shortly thereafter. I'm betting for holiday 2017. I read an article on a website called Engadget.com. If that doesn't sound right, let me know in the comments below. But they said when they spoke to Hyperkin, it was based out of $80. So I'm going to assume that's an MSRP number, not street retail. Someone else spoke and said it was going to be about $40, which would make that sound true. MSRP is always an inflated price, and you can generally cut that number in half, and that's what it would sell for on the street. So, so going into the information that I do have, and this information is coming from a gentleman named MaximumRD. He posted this on the Atari.io forums, and I'm just relaying it to you. This is his experience, his information, and I'm really excited to get this out to you guys, okay? So right now, it's looking like it's going to work with the Harmony card until some legal stuff is worked out, pending approval, so to speak. The Harmony card is basically just an SD flash card for Atari 2600, and I believe 7800 works on that as well. It does have two screen modes, 4x3 and 16x9, so that's nice to always have the option. It will have the color and black and white modes, which is important for some games. But notably, there is no switch that we could see on the console for that, nor are there any for the difficulties, which, again, for some games, it's important to have that. It's part of the functionality of the game. So, in speculation, maybe it'll be run in the software itself when you boot it up, and that would be fine too, because it is a small unit. You can only cram so many buttons and switches on it. But again, we also have to remember this is a demo unit, and it does look as such. It's a nice looking unit, and it looks like they're going in an aesthetic way that is very pleasing to cats like me, while still giving it a modern Hyperkin twist and flavor. But it is a demo unit. It's going to be rough. It's going to be bare bones. This is what the system can do. Now get excited and buy this shit when it comes out. So hopefully we'll either get those switches or they'll just be done within the emulation. That's fine. And speaking of which, it looks like it's built off of the Stella emulator, which is a really good emulator. It's not the one I have for my Wii. The one I have for my Wii is specifically designed for the Wii. But the Stella is one that's been around for a long time, and it's a really good emulator, and I'm glad to see that they're able to use that. It will work with third-party controllers, maybe your Wicco command sticks and such like that. And it should also work with trackballs. So that's pretty cool if you're into the whole trackball thing. I haven't had a great experience with trackballs in the home console, but it's still cool to have to play Missile Command and Centipede. And, you know, it's a quirk. Another side note, thinking of that, maybe your Genesis controller should, I don't see why it wouldn't. Generally, I play a lot of my Atari games with a Genesis controller, unless, of course, it's a game like a maze game, Pac-Man, Lock and Chase, stuff like that, that really benefits from having an actual directional joystick. So it's awesome to hear about that. We'll talk more about joysticks in a minute, too. Let's see, we'll work with it. The USB port right now is mainly just for power, but there's talks of it maybe being for open source. And that would be great if they did that and allowed us to get into the machine and expand it, because it's probably a good possibility that this will be it for us. I'm hoping not, but I'm just going to leave it at that so I don't get too excited. And another thing I've been hearing is there's really no input lag either, so a lot of these emulator systems, there's like this microsecond input lag. It's not really huge, but you notice it, and it kind of subconsciously fucks with your head. It's kind of like that uncanny valley. You don't notice it, but your brain does. So, but whatever. But it's looking like the input lag isn't there to be had. Let's see. Right now, it's looking like it's only HDMI, but with the NES HD, they did put RCA ports on the back. And it would be nice to have that option. I know the whole point of this is to get an HD, HDMI, Atari experience, but to have those ports in the back would be a great benefit. And I would like to see that, because I would like to still hook this thing up to a tube TV. It would be great. Another side note, and this is just coming from me, the cart slot is backwards compared to the actual VCS 2600. And that's not really important. And in fact, it actually makes a lot more sense to have the label facing you. But for someone who's been playing Atari for close to 40 years, it's just, it's going to take a little bit to wrap my head around turning the cartridge around and having it facing me. But I think that's a great feature, believe it or not, and I hope they stick with it. Let's see, what else do we have here? And I think that's pretty much it. I did get a comment from a buddy of mine who calls himself Mr. Wizard online. You should know him from, there's a lot of repro carts, and one of the ones he's most famous for, especially right now, is his slime-filled Ghostbusters 2 cartridges. He reached out to me in a comment and just said, yeah, I got to play this thing. He said that the controls are really great. They work very well. He also mentioned that they might even add in if you wiggle the cart, the glitch mode for it. Aside from just silly nostalgia, I don't see the point now, but it's nice that it's getting the attention and the love. It's not just, let's throw an emulator, a cart slot, and put the machine out with a sticker that looks like wood grain. They're actually putting some thought behind it, so I'm really excited. You should be really excited if this is your thing. And if it's not, maybe this will help boost it. There's a great library of Atari 2600 carts out there that are cheap, dirt cheap. And this would make it a lot more convenient for most people to play, because it is a newer machine, so it'll be a lot more reliable. Not that the VCS and the 2600s aren't, but face it, they're 40, 30, 25 years old. And of course, they're going to start to fail and show some age. Brand new machine, you just hook it up, you go. The only last thing I really want to talk about is I really wish, and I've commented this 100 times, I really wish they would put a 7800 emulator in the machine as well. I know they're calling it the RetroN 77, and that's geared towards just the VCS itself, because in 1977 is the year it came out, if you don't know. That's where they're coming up with the 77. But it would be nice to have the option of playing both. And maybe they'll do that down the line. Maybe they'll call it the RetroN Old Fart. And we'll be able to play all the other really cool, blocky retro stuff that we love. But aside from that, I'm excited. All the news that's coming back from this is all thumbs up. And I can't wait to get my hands on one. I've been begging for a review demo unit. Not that I want anything for free, but because even if I don't get one, I'm still going to buy the fucking thing. Are you kidding me? But if I were to ever get something like that, this would be the item that I hope I would have gotten. Aside from maybe this too, but it's out already. I didn't know about it until it actually came out because I wasn't putting my ear to the wall. So guys, what are your thoughts on this? Are you as excited as I am? Could you not even care about it? Either way, that's awesome. Go ahead and leave feedback down below. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All feedback to me is positive. And until I hear anything more about this and or about Atari Box, take care and bye-bye. Hey, what's up, folks? The Creep here. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more. You can follow The Creep on social media, and feel free to reach out at any time here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Creep would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you, take care, and bye-bye.